So you're here because something in your personal experience is telling you that your memory should be better, right? You clicked on a video with the title Short-Term Memory Loss, Ascension Symptoms to Celebrate. So most likely, this implies that you've been experiencing a loss of memory lately along your journey, or that you're having a hard time recalling things within linear time. Now, let's break this down to really understand that and what that means. I like equations, and I feel like this gives a concession to the mind. So how can you experience a loss of memory? How is that possible? Well, you can only lose something if you first knew that you had it, right? So there's a comparison happening between two states. A state where you had something, and then a state where it seemed to be lost. Now, if we just break this down very simply, you can see that two states and two objective realities where there was something to be lost implies time passing, a change in state from one perspective to another, as if changing scenes in a movie. Memory and time go hand in hand. Can you have memory without time? No. And can you have time without memory? You may feel like the answer is no, not really. If someone had no memory and had instant amnesia, bringing them constantly into total infinite presence, there wouldn't really be time. Or perhaps we could say it would be omnipresence, all time that is contained in the now moment. Infinite potentiality. So what does this tell us about short-term memory loss? How is this relevant? Well, its relevance is that what I'm sharing here is a gift to the mind, so that it can gain a certain level of understanding of what's happening within the mental functioning, so that it can be dropped, let go, and not chased after. So that if and when you begin to experience a loss of memory, you can allow this natural process to occur because you've prefaced and prepared your conditioning to comprehend this as an organic, natural, and beneficial aspect of awakening. So why is it that short-term memory loss is beneficial? It's a vital part of human evolution as we evolve out of linear time and into presence, or zero-point awareness. This is the journey from the mind to the heart, from thinking to feeling, from an age of being lost in the Maya, the illusion of the mind, the illusion that the mind paints using its access to our past and our future memory banks, and forecasts, which lead to anxiety, tension, contraction, suffering, sickness, and dis-ease in the body when we overly give our attention to the stories and narratives that don't serve us within our mental landscape. So what we've done here is prepped you for a stage of ascension, so that you have the internal awareness to observe the mind's functioning when it brings up anxious thoughts and feelings about not remembering something, or a narrative that attempts to anchor guilt for not being able to recall something. Now, if and when those thoughts arise within your inner landscape, you can simply watch as they pass by, not clinging to anything, and reminding yourself that this perceived loss of memory or time can instead be celebrated. What we have done here is build a bridge. As individuals and collectively, we are on a journey from separation towards unity. And really, it's not towards anything at all, since unity is what we've always been, but the mind is what creates the illusion that we're somehow apart from that. Individually and collectively, we are on a journey from separation into unity, from duality into wholeness, from our mind to our heart. Essentially, we are unveiling ourselves to what was already here and now, always, beyond time. The mind is simply the activity that veils that. That is what these bridges allow. We are bridging worlds within ourselves. It is not us and this outside world. We are the worlds. What we have created here today is a concession for the mind, a stepping stone, an easier transition, almost like training wheels, as we move from a third-dimensional world that was lost in separation from life, separation from its source, lost in the Maya, the illusion of the mind, into a fifth-dimensional world that exists from the zero-point awareness of the heart space, the all-encompassing omnipresence of divine, unconditional love that resides within each of us, connecting us as a fabric of eternity. It is our true nature to fully embrace and open our hearts. And we must first surrender our minds. We must let go of our clinging to every demanding story that floats through our inner space and simply see it for what it is, a happening. Clouds floating through an endless sky. We are that sky. The clouds have no effect on us unless we cling to them and judge our states of weather as better or worse than another. Pull back, release, and observe. Witness what you are. Something that we can only witness by being that, by allowing the mind to still, or to cease our clinging to what is arising and happening through us. So next time your mind offers up stories that reek of anxiety or stem from comparison to a past version of yourself, breathe and walk the bridge we have just built together. The bridge of internal awareness of what's really going on. The mind is analyzing a past version of you and comparing it to a new version in the dynamic of time, which only exists in the mind. Do you see the irony? The paradox? As you move from 3D to 5D consciousness, you are moving away from the mind, away from memory, away from time, into pure presence, absence of mental noise, and absence of clinging to mental stories, and instead, a faith and a trust arises naturally from this evolution into the heart. By giving your mind a heads up that the loss of memory is a good sign of your ascension, you immediately avoid the mental comparison, clinging, and anxiety of trying to hang on to things that are meant to be lovingly dissolved at this time in our journeys. We are meant to surrender the mind to the heart. We are meant to surrender our clinging to these other versions of past and future to the present, to what is always, right here and right now. We are evolving into a new state of human, a transcendence of mind into fully embracing the body as our organic functioning occurs spontaneously in the omnipresent now. As we let go of our mind obsession, we feel into our true nature. We begin to taste our wholeness of essence that exists as one energy, interconnected and woven with all of life. The only thing that ever actually separated us from being one with life itself in our infinite nature was our clinging to stories and ideas that bundled together to create a sense of separation as the egoic self and personality. The idea that we were only this person, which is really just an idea, a construct or a concept, a fraction of the whole, rather than the whole itself. As our mental clinging fades away, the illusion of being separate fades with it, and we come to rest in the heart as our true self, one with all creation, emanating peace and unconditional love. So now, as you go along your journey, if you have moments where you come across narratives or thoughts that seem to flow through your mind and compare you to a past version, or try to get you to feel like you need to remember something or that you're not remembering enough, in any activity of emotion that follows that, in terms of anxiety or overwhelm, you can now relax and release in those moments and observe that thought like any other part of the illusion of the mind, and let it fade away into the distance, knowing that you do not need to cling to any of this. And the bridge that we have built is the awareness of this. The bridge that we have built is a concession to the mind, meaning that we are coming from a mental functioning world. So we have catered to the mind. We have been compassionate to the mind and to the sense of personhood, which doesn't really exist in the way that we think it does. So that the person, next time a thought appears in the person's mind, which is all just really a part of the illusion, the person can relax and let it go and come to rest again and again in the heart, because now you know that this is all an organic part of ascension, a natural evolvement and evolution beyond time, beyond the mind, beyond comparing ourselves to the past or forecasting what will be in the future, or judging ourselves compared to something that we've done or should have done differently. With this bridge built, as things arise, we can simply take a step forward again and again into where we already are. Here, now, omnipresent, unconditional love.